Hey guys, what's up? Today I'm going to be talking about how to change your gender marker on your ID. So I'm going to go over, of course, the facts on how to do it, and then I'm going to tell my story of how just my experience of what happened, and how I did change it myself, and also I'm going to talk about just how it feels having my gender marker changed. I am in Washington, so it will be different. Every video I've seen is always a little different with each state, but every video I've seen is always a little bit different about how to change your gender marker, but in general, it's kind of the same thing. I mean, it all just depends on, your situation, but pretty much it's the same thing. Don't worry. When I was looking for videos on how to change my gender marker, I was actually really confused. I thought it was a lot more steps than it actually is, and it's actually super easy, a lot easier than changing your name. I don't know why, but I thought changing your gender marker would be a lot more harder than changing your name, but changing your gender marker is actually a lot more cheaper and easier. So I'm just gonna get into it now. I know you can change your gender marker if you're not on T, but I'm just going to talk about you being on T. So if you're on T, that means you go to a doctor, and if you go to a doctor, that means that you can just pretty much after your first appointment, after you get your T, say you get your T, you're on T, and then the next appointment you have, normally it's like 3 months after your first appointment, after you started T, so they can check up on you. I think that appointment would be a great time. You just go in and say, hey, I want to change my gender marker on my ID or my driver's license. Can you guys fill out this form? Either you bring in a form from the DMV, I think on their website you can just print it out, or you can ask them, and I believe they have them at their office. And then after they've signed it, pretty much they just have to sign something, check a few boxes, and then you sign something on the same paper, and then you take that paper to the DMV, and you take your picture, do an eye test, if it's a driver's license, of course, and then yeah, you just get your new ID in the mail. It's super easy. And then now I'm just going to talk about my experience with it. So pretty much my doctor is Planned Parenthood, as I talked about before on my other videos about how I started seeing stuff. So yeah, my Planned Parenthood, it's not every Planned Parenthood. There's a Planned Parenthood right down the street, 1 minute away, but I can't go there because they don't do trans services. Only one in the entire Washington state as of today does trans services, which is all the way in Bellingham, and it's like a 3-4 hour bus ride, so I couldn't really make it down there. It takes an entire day, and they're only open for, they only do trans services on a specific day, and I work on that day. So what I did was I called the office one day and I said, hey, I want to change my gender marker. Can you guys write a letter for me? For some reason, I don't know why I thought they just write a letter, kind of how they write letters for top surgery. So I thought they would just write me a letter or something. So I said, hey, can you guys write me a letter? Can you tell my doctor to write a letter for me? And they wrote, the lady who I called, she wrote an email out. Sorry, there's something in my eye. But yeah, she wrote an email out as I was on the phone. She was like, okay, so you want your your gender marker is female, you want to change to male, right? And just asking me all those kind of questions and stuff. And yeah, so she ended up typing out an email and sending it off to my doctor. And 3 weeks, probably a month later, maybe a month and a week later, I got a call, and it was the same lady, I think, I don't know, but yeah, it was the receptionist. And she said, oh, I sent off the email, and your doctor signed it and everything. We are sitting, and then she was like, can you come down to the office so you can sign it too? And I was like, no, don't let this be the one thing that stops me from changing my gender marker. I cannot make it down there before I move. I'm moving in a couple days, well, at that time it was 2 months from then, so I was like, I can't make it down there, I can't change my gender marker now. I thought I was fucked, honestly, but I wasn't fucked. She said it was cool. She's gonna mail it to me, and I can sign it, and I can bring it to the DMV. So yeah, that's what happened. A week later, I believe, maybe a week and a half later or something like that, I got in the mail, and I signed my name on it, took it down to the DMV. It took me a while to go down to the DMV because for some reason I thought it would be like a lot of money, and I also thought that it would be a lot of time, like a lot more steps. But like probably like 2 weeks after I got the letter and I signed it, I kind of just I went down to the DMV and I said, you know, fuck it, I want to change my gender marker. I'm gonna go do it now. Because the thing is too, I thought that since I had a California ID, so I have a California ID, right? I had one, a California driver's license. Sorry, so I had a California driver's license, and I thought that, you know, since I have a California driver's license, I can't get a new ID since, like, it's Washington and the paper says Washington all over it. So, like, I literally either have to go to the DMV in Washington, or like I can't get it because I'm moving to California, you know what I mean? Like, the paper wouldn't work anymore, it'd just be like trash. So I had to go down there. So I went down there to the DMV and it was super, super chill. You guys know the DMV, it took fucking forever, like probably like, well, it didn't take that long, it took like probably like an hour or something. I waited in a line for an hour, and yeah, like after that hour, they called my name, I took a picture, or I got my picture taken, and I did my eye test, passed it of course, and then she they were kind of weird there though. They're like, oh, so you want to change your gender marker? It's like they never had somebody change their gender marker before. It was like really weird, but I was so happy because the first, like, so I went there in the morning, right, and like they, like, you know, there's like a guy in the front that like checks all your shit to see what you're there for, see if you have everything. And I actually was missing something, so you like need, oh shit, I should have wrote this down for you guys, but you need, I believe you need a proof of residency. Because my ID was California, so I needed proof of residency, and there's like certain things you can do. What I specifically used was, I had to use a utility bill. I have electric bill, but it was in my wife's name, so I also had to bring the utility bill printed out, and I also had to bring our marriage certificate. So I had a marriage certificate, a utility bill, had to bring my, obviously my ID, and I feel like maybe my birth certificate. I'm not even sure. I brought a bunch of unnecessary documents like my social security card. You don't need to bring that. Yeah, you don't need to bring that. And of course the you know, the form for my doctor. So I think all you need is a form for your doctor, a proof of residency, and your ID, and I think that will do it. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, hopefully. Yeah, I think that's it. And then yeah, after I got my eyes checked in the little test thingy, I paid. It was like $90. It would actually been $54 if I was a resident already. Like, I had a Washington driver's license already. It would have been like $54, but because I was transferring my California ID to Washington and changed my gender marker, the gender marker itself actually didn't cost any money, which is like super cool. So the only thing that cost money was literally getting a new ID from California to Washington. And yeah, so it was super chill. That was my whole experience. Now I'm just gonna kind of talk about just like how it feels, because like nobody really ever talks. Well, I guess like not many people like change their gender marker before they change their name. Most people just change their name and they don't change their gender marker, or they change both of them at the same time. And I didn't, only because like the changing your name is so much time and money, and I just don't have it before I move. And so yeah, and the whole thing about me moving and not being able to use the form in California, I kind of just had to change my gender marker first. So it's honestly, I mean, I haven't ran into anything, you know, anything bad or whatever, but like I only use my ID. I've only used my ID so far for marijuana from the club, and also alcohol. And nobody really ever looked at me weird or anything, but I'm pretty sure when I bought weed one time, like the girl was like, oh, you know, she was still saying she, I think. I mean, I'm sure I would remember if she said he, but I believe she's saying she, although she had my ID in her hand. I mean, I don't think people look at your ID and look at your gender or anything, so like that's cool. But like, yeah, and like the same guy that I always buy alcohol from, he didn't really see the gender marker either changed. I mean, I was thinking, I don't know why, but I was just like really like getting super anxious in line the first time I bought something, because I was thinking that maybe they'd look at it and they'd be like, oh, I remember you from, you know, last week you had a female on your ID, and I was thinking like that was gonna happen, but actually it didn't happen. So that's awesome. But something that I am kind of scared of though is one, I have a job now, obviously, and you know, I have the same ID in their system and stuff, but I'm about to quit. Well, I literally just put in my 2 weeks today. Awesome. Yeah, I was just thinking, like, should I, like, tell them and, like, have them scan my new ID and, like, put in their system on mail and stuff? But I'm honestly thinking, like, nah, fuck that shit. But I was thinking, like, maybe, like, when it's, like, the last day or something, I can, like, tell somebody in management, like, hey, like, I changed my gender marker and I'm gonna put them down as, like, a reference. I was thinking about telling him, like, hey, yeah, I'm Elijah. So if somebody calls and said, hey, Elijah used to work with you, say, that's me. So I was thinking about telling them that, but I don't know. Whatever. So pretty much, what I'm scared of is when I get a job in California and my name is Deja and my middle name is fucking Nicole. So I mean, like, Deja, no, it can't pass as a middle name. And also Nicole, no, it can't. So I just think it's gonna be kind of weird. And also this way I look too, because I mean, I don't fully look, I feel like I'm kind of in that middle area, like male and female, so it's just like weird. And yeah, so what I'm thinking is I'm seeing like a little shitty job or something, like not a job I'm gonna keep forever, the second I get there, just because my name is a female name and my gender marker is male. I just really don't want a job that I'm gonna have for years and years, because I don't want to have to deal with telling them, hey, my new name is this and all that stuff. I just want to kind of go in and you know, to show my ID, let them know, hey, I'm male, if they gender me wrong, and show my ID if they get it wrong, if they don't believe me or whatever. And yeah, just honestly, it's kind of weird because I'm really scared for that. I don't even know why, but I mean, I shouldn't be, because like whatever, you know, if they see my ID, you know, and they're like, oh, why is your name a female name? I mean, who the fuck would ask that, I guess? But it's just like, I don't know, I'm kind of nervous about that, but you know, it's all good. I'm definitely gonna update you guys on what happens. What I'm planning on doing though is I'm going to try to change my name within 2 to 3 months from now, so that I'll have like a job that I really care about the first 2 months, and then just, yeah, change my name. It's just like, I don't know, it's kind of hard. I mean, I know there's a lot of videos online and stuff on how to change your name and stuff, but honestly, I don't know, like, they're all so specific to their experience. It just feels like I just don't really I've never come across a video that's kind of just like, in general, here's how you do it. I guess I have, but yeah, I don't know. I just gotta fucking do that shit. But yeah, so that's how you change your gender marker. Thanks for watching, guys.